Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of Adobe Live. My name is Anna McNaught, and I am the host today. And I am joined today again by Ryan Selvy. And Ryan and I had an absolutely awesome time yesterday. So welcome back, Ryan. How are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling jazzed and ready to go. I had a really great time yesterday, and I've been looking forward to this. So I was talking it all up to my parents. So I was like, I had such a good time.
That is so awesome. I love that. Well, I had a great time with you too, and you had me laughing the entire stream. So I hope everyone is ready for that again. If you were here yesterday, thank you for being here with us. And if you're new today, you are certainly in for a treat and lots of good conversation and laughs. So be sure to join in the chat and welcome everyone into the chat who is here right now. I see Oliver and Bruce and General Kenobi. Thank you for being here with us. And if you're watching over on YouTube, be sure to come over to behance.net/live so that you can join in on the chat and ask Ryan questions and laugh along with us, or maybe just make fun of us. It will depend on where things go today. But if you missed the previous streams, you can always view the replays on Behance or YouTube, and be sure to check out Weekend Creative as they retouch photos and create GIFs for social in the stream that was on right before this one. And then don't miss the first week of the Illustrator Creative Challenges with Julia Vaca every weekday. I cannot speak. Every weekday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, right before the stream. Tune in and challenge yourself with a new prompt each and every day. Clearly, I am excited because I'm getting tongue twisted here. So, Ryan, I will let you take it away and give yourself a little intro.
Hey guys, welcome back to everybody who's tuning in for the second day. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here. Today, we're going to be a lot deeper in the keyframes. Yesterday, we were working on the illustration and the storyboarding of the motion design. And today, we have the fun part of actually hopping in and doing a lot of After Effects. We did about a power 10 minutes of After Effects yesterday. And today, I think will be predominantly an hour and a half or so of all After Effects with some other nice little segment for the artist spotlight. I am a motion designer by trade. I am traditionally trained in graphic design and illustration, and then over the years I got into motion design. So I just really want to encourage anybody who's interested in motion design. You don't need to go to a fancy school or take fancy courses. You can teach yourself. All that is to say, you can go to a fancy school, you can take fancy courses. Everything works differently for different people. But if you have an interest and you're excited about motion design, just hop in the program. And the best way to learn is just to frustrate yourself and be like, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to leave the program until I figure it out. And that's kind of what I did. And now I make a living off of motion design. So you can do it too. And I hope that today, maybe you can learn a few things while you watch. And then also at the end of this, we're going to have in the replay, we'll have the link to the assets so that you can take this self-promo story that we're making and add it to your own profile, and you can add your own work and you can find good ways to promote yourself. So yeah, good to be back.
Awesome. That sounds great. I am super excited for today. And I love your little pep talk in the beginning, getting people fired up and ready to work on some things. So I think today is going to be very good.
Yeah, agreed. Sometimes I have to pep myself up also just for motion design, just because some of it can be repetitive. We're going to try to keep the conversation as design focused as we can. But if you guys were here yesterday, you can even see that we had a little fun just chatting things up while we work through stuff. If you have any questions as to what I'm doing, how it works out, please let me know. And I'm happy to redo things. I'm happy to articulate on what's happening. And if you have any questions, be like, oh, you went in here and I'm curious about this one part, just ping something in the chat. We'll try to catch it, and then I'll try to highlight it. So
yes,
it's open dialogue, live streams.
Yes. Yeah, two-way communication here. So big reason to come over from YouTube if you're watching over there so that you can chat with us and talk to Ryan. Ask him anything that you're wondering about in the entire world, whatever it is.
Oh, I don't know if I can do anything in the entire world, but I can. We can start somewhere with motion graphics, maybe.
Sounds good.
So right now you can see that we started off with the first part. We're not going to be in Photoshop like really at all today, but I am going to pull up my really janky storyboard that we have going on here. And essentially we're just going to be creating a little intro so that you say, hello, then you'll have your name, what you do, and then we'll have something that you make, and then we'll do something that is polished, and then we'll end it out with where you can follow you and if you are available for work. So we're gonna try to go through as much as we can. Like I said, we got some other stuff planned for today too with Artist Spotlight. So we'll go as fast as we can and see how far we get. And regardless, we will have everything available for your use by the end of it with the replay. So hello to all the good friends in the chat, by the way. A lot of familiar friends, familiar faces. Wow, you got me tongue-tied now too. It's a pleasure to see everybody, and I hope everyone's having a really good day. And it means a lot to me that you guys are here. So thank you again.
Yes. Jane asked, can you please tell me where to find my inspiration? I seem to have lost it. Maybe we didn't really talk about that much yesterday, so maybe you could just quickly share where you get your inspiration from, and if you have any tips for any of us who have lost our inspiration.
100%. As many people know, I'm a big Behance fanboy. So a lot of my inspiration comes from live streams on Behance, as well as just following a really large selection of people. I also have an extension on my Chrome that is made by the folks at Envision. And it actually it's called Musely. And the reason I really want to bring it up is every time you open up a new tab, it gives you all of these really great selections of works across the internet. You can see here, it has Behance integrated, and you can add and subtract things that you want, from like Design Milk, or it even has techie stuff like TechCrunch. But a lot of times I'll hop on here. They'll have really great websites, they'll have really great motion. And that's another really great way. There's a lot of really great curation services online. That's someplace that I really find motivation. In between this and Behance, that's my go-to.
What did you say it's called? Musely?
Musely, so Muzli. And they originally were their own company, but then I know like Envision bought them at some point. But it's not like related to Envision really in any capacity besides them just owning it. So you don't feel like it's biased towards any of their products or anything, yeah. But yeah. All right. So I like how this hello is popping up, but I don't like how it's visible at the very beginning. So I do want to bring this in just a little bit so that it doesn't pop up until the speech bubble is visible. So there's two things that we could do. We could either take it and we could pick whip it to the speech bubble. And pick whip it just essentially means that you are saying, hey, follow this layer. Anything that it does, can you please do as well? So you'll see now that we've pick whipped it, it moves up and down in the same form. If we continue to move this speech bubble around with the position, the hello will also now move, which is super helpful. And it can really make your projects confusing, but in the best way possible, because it's confusing that you understand and the person that you pass it off to has to figure out. So good luck. I also really want to add a little bit more bouncy to this, just because we were talking about it yesterday. I enjoy my bounce. I am just going to add another little rendition of it going down and coming back up. So then you'll see this is reflected in the letters, and it'll go like that. So we're using an extension called Simple Text, which lets me animate each letter, word, or line individually through the use of this animator ID that it creates, and it represents it with a box within the little parameters. And then if you adjust the position, the scale, the rotation, or the opacity to any of these, it will then reflect it in your text layer. And then you can go to your effect controls. You can set which animator ID you want. So you can have several of these compositions per project. And then you can also edit the delay so that they can happen closer at once or after. You can also reverse the endpoint and also do random endpoints. So it's great. I love it. I use it all the time.
Yeah, that's really, really helpful.
I could sit here and perfect this all day. but I know we got a lot to do. So I'm actually going to go over my projects. I'm going to duplicate this frame, as I call them. This is how my workflow works. I like to make different compositions for frames, especially if I'm working on a storyboard of sorts. And then I like to stitch them together in a main composition, which you can do in Premiere. It depends on how complicated I get. If I am not working with audio, a lot of times I do like to just free will it and just try to keep it in one program if I can. But all that is to say, it is a great thing to have the I can't say it. When things work together, and they do work together.
I was like, I don't even know what he's trying to say.
I don't think I know what I'm trying to say. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. This is a frame that we made yesterday. And so this is going to be our second frame. It's our reference. Since we're in frame 2, I'm going to delete all our old stuff. We can bring stuff back if we want to. But you'll say, hey, Ryan, everything's all one layer. How are you going to work with that? You can right click it and you can go to create shapes from vector layer, and it will create a new layer with all the contents and all your groups, and then you can divide up from there. And it's just an easy way to work between the two. But it will stop updating your file. If you were to go in and like update something in Illustrator, you're not going to necessarily see that reflected in After Effects, because now you made a new shape. It's all on you at that point. So not the worst thing in the world, just something to stay conscious of if you're worried about the organization of your files. This is going to be a placeholder. Also, I'm doing a lot of talking right now, so I guess I should ask, how's your day going? You having a good day?
Hey, you're good. You're walking through your design process, and that's exactly what we're here to do today. So, but I am doing well, thank you.
Yeah, you know, it's always nice to talk and work at the same time. Just because, yeah, I don't know, it's something that helps make it go faster for me. You can get lost in the keyframes, and you can get real bored. I often listen to podcasts, or I listen to a TV show in the background as I work, just because over time, you know, you're gonna want to,
Yeah. Do you find that you listen to something like, a podcast or TV show where you kind of, I mean, maybe not so much a TV show, but a podcast, you kind of have to pay attention to what they're saying unless you totally are just not listening. Do you find that you do that, or listen to music more often?
It really switches. I mean, a lot of times I feel like I can find the company of someone who's live streaming. I like that a lot, because then I can kind of tune in and tune out. That said, when I do that, sometimes I am less productive, just because with that I talk a little bit more and I like hop in between windows. And you know, it's okay. It's not bad. It's just sometimes I work a little bit slower if I'm watching a live stream. But if I'm watching TV, sometimes I have to then go in and rewind, because you have to pay attention to the TV, or you know, other times. Yeah, I know. I always end up listening to music, because I used to try to do the podcast thing, and I found that I wasn't retaining any information because I would get so focused on my work that I wasn't really listening to what the podcast was saying. Or if I was, then my work wasn't what I wanted it to be, you know? Absolutely. And it's a tough balance, but you gotta, some things work some days and other days they don't. But I'm always flipping around.
Let us know in the chat. How do you prefer to work? Do you all like to listen to music, podcasts, TV, in silence? It's always kind of interesting to hear about what people prefer.
And then also, if you guys are wondering who this guy is, it's just a random guy that I just found. And I'm just using that as kind of the indicator for the placeholder. So when you guys get the project, you'll be able to go in, and all you'll do is you'll just replace this guy with whatever icon you have for your own. And then you'll be able to have it as your own icon that reflects whatever social media that you're using. So we'll probably end up changing it to something like replace me or what have you. And I'll also make sure I put instructions into the document itself. So just bear with me. I see Jane says that she listens to Audible books. Same sort of thing with like rewinding. If I have to focus too much, I can like my boyfriend tried to listen to Dune while we were driving out to Colorado like a summer ago, and it's hard to comprehend all of the names if it's all new. You know, it's like the Jesuits, and I'm like, that's not Yoda. You know, I can't. That's not a familiar term to me, and so we had to turn it off, which was a bummer because I do want to read that book, but that happens a lot also when I design.
Yeah, I know. We always have to like listen to kind of, I don't know, either like a murder mystery or something more low key when we're driving. Cause it is hard to focus on that. And I can't imagine when you're working trying to do an audiobook. So more power to you, Jane. That's awesome.
I mean, Jane is super, super talented. If you guys don't already, make sure you check out her Behance. She is staying up late just for this stream. So I really do appreciate it. So thanks for being here. So we just did it. So we brought it in. All I did right now, honestly, was I just did a scale. So made everything to scale 0. Then I made it larger than what I wanted it to be. And then I brought it back down to the size that I wanted it to be. So all it's doing is saying, go from tiny to huge to where I want you to be. Then that's kind of where this lives. So I know that we also have the hello bubble from this. And I want to take this and have it still be visible in the next frame. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the speech bubble outlines with the hello. And I'm going to just add it to the second frame. We're going to want it at the end, though, because we want it to start at the end of that frame when we stitch things together. So I'm going to just get rid of all of those other keyframes. I'm even going to get rid of our little text animation. And I can do that by going back into simple text. And there's a remove text animations, and then it just gets rid of it for me. We're about 20 minutes in. If you're watching and you're working on something, save your work, everybody. Yes. You don't want to lose anything from a power outage or something.
Always a very good reminder.
Yes, I have fallen to computer issues and outside external issues before, and it is not a good feeling.
Yep.
There's one specific stream in particular where I actually had to bring my computer into the shop because I was having problems with my computer. And I just lost it all, and we had been working on something for like an hour and a half, and I just had to stop streaming. I was like, okay, goodbye, everybody.
Yeah,
I need to go do something happy for a little bit.
That's so upsetting. Or the worst too, it's like if I was doing a lot of recorded courses for a while, and if you like record a whole piece of content and then you lose that if it wasn't recording or something, like sometimes I find that even worse than losing the piece of work, depending on what it is. But
absolutely that would hurt so badly.
I just recorded for 2 hours and it didn't record.
It was just your dress rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly.
What is Voodoo upset about? I see all caps between Annika and Voodoo, and that's never a good sign. Although it actually is a regular occurrence, so it's also kind of a fine sign.
Yeah, I'm like, what are they talking about? Annika asked, do you have a show reel? And if not, how would you approach it in terms of what projects you would put in it and how long it's going to be?
Oh boy, a show reel. You guys should have a show reel. I don't. Because I always like get overwhelmed by it, or I just get busy with other work. But I mean, the coolest thing, honestly, is just the things that you're passionate about and excited about. The thing that I constantly tell students is don't put anything in your portfolio because you think you should. If you don't enjoy doing it, please do not put it in your portfolio, because someone's going to see it and they're going to say, oh, you can do this. Oh, can you do that for me? And then you're in this constant, try to catch the dragon by its tail sort of thing where it's, like you keep getting more work for the thing that you don't like to do. And then you keep putting that work into your portfolio because you're like, this is good and it's getting more work, but you're not happy. So, only put in the stuff that you're really excited about. It would be my biggest piece of advice. That's hard because, you know, obviously you're going to be critical of yourself, but what do you want to show your mom, you know?
Yeah.
that's the truth of it, honestly.
Yeah. No, that's definitely good advice. And I mean, we were getting hired for tons and tons of TikTok videos because that's what we were doing for a while and trying to kind of grow our audience that way. And I got to the point where I was like, I don't like making these. And James was like, well, let's stop making them then, because people are hiring us because that's what we're doing. And it's like, oh, so it's such good advice to put out there what you want to be hired for.
100%. Also, I just thought of something. So you can see right now that I'm working with position lines, and I'm kind of tweaking things in real time, and it's showing me how things move around. One thing that might happen to you, and you might get a little bit lost, is sometimes you'll accidentally have this button, toggle mask and shape path visibility. It'll turn off, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's still doing it for me. But sometimes like the controllers will disappear, and all you have to do is go and toggle this back on and it'll pop back up for you. So familiarize yourself with these icons down here. There's one, you know, that'll turn on and off the transparency, because by default, everything is technically transparent, and your alpha channels. So it's good to know. And then there's also like things that you can do with your previews. So if it's running really slow, go down here and change the resolution to, you know, half, third, or even a quarter. And depending on your system, you'll see everything gets more pixelated, but you and I know that like that is not the real representation of it. It is actually just doing it so that our system could run faster and we can have a better view of the animation that we're working on. So just check these out. You know, you have your color space. You know, you have a bunch of different stuff, and they're all very helpful. There is a series of that I do on Offset, which is when I take over Adobe Live. And then there's also a series by Ben Marriott, who I talk about a lot, that goes over things that are kind of always there and you never knew what they did. You kind of just ignored them. And one that I recently learned was this little T here called Preserve Underlying Transparency. And this essentially works as a clipping mask for everything below it. So if I click it on for the hand, you'll see the hand disappears, but it's actually just only showing on it on all of the layers beneath it. And, you know, you probably look at that all the time. You just ignore the box. Don't ignore the boxes. When you're bored one day, just like figure out which, you know, what everything does. It's something that you just kind of has turned invisible to your eye. Kind of be excited about learning what it does, you know? So that's my advice.
Very good advice.
Anna asks if it passes the mom test. Yeah, I will also say though, if you have anything inappropriate in your portfolio, maybe don't show that to your mom. But I mean, I don't know the relationship you have with your mom. Maybe you guys are super close. But I normally go with, would my mom be happy with it? Although a lot of times she doesn't really normally know what I'm doing. She tells everybody that I color for a living. She's my son colors. I'm like, no, I guess I do, kind of. I'm like, there are people that actually color for a living and make a lot more than I do, Mom. I'm not complaining about how much I make. It's just I had a teacher that was a colorist for Marvel comic books, and that man made bank.
Wow.
But there is a skill to it. There's definitely a skill to it.
Yeah.
But that's her go-to joke.
Yeah.
My son moved to the city and he colors. What's up?
Like, not even close, Mom, but fine. Okay.
You know, it's still supportive, so I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Reverb Mike's talking about turning on adaptive resolution, which is really helpful. Anna's talking about the importance of finding a new tool that'll totally change your workflow. Also, get a cat. I've learned a lot of new keyboard shortcuts in the last month since I've gotten a cat, because he'll jump on the keyboard and then I have to figure out what happened.
Yes, that's a good one too.
That's always something. How should we bring in these letters though? Oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't do this with simple text, because if you guys use it, I don't know if it would be able to adjust it. I'll be able to do it for my name is, because I don't think you'll change that. But as far as your name goes, I'm not going to touch that with simple text, because while it'll still work when you pull it up, it won't necessarily pull up the modulation to be able to adjust it and add it to new letters. So I'll just keep that in mind. There are some projects that work and plugins that work way better with non-plugin users than others. I get most of my plugins all from either the library or from AE scripts and plugins, which is another really great resource. I don't know if there's a library yet for After Effects though. I've used the library and Illustrator for finding plugins.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if there's one baked in yet for After Effects, but maybe one day.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let us know in the chat if anybody knows that.
Mike says, please don't yell hello at me. Okay, well then what do you want it to say? You wanted to say I work. I work. Yeah, sure.
Oh, the chat is feisty today.
That's how they normally are. I attract a bad crew. It's a bunch of hoodlums. I don't know why it's telling me I have an expression error. Oh, it's because my name is set to Animator 3 rather than Animator 2. So we just want to back because I deleted Animator 3 because we had excessive ones. Cool then. Let's see here. Where do you find inspiration from, Anna?
I usually, I guess it all kind of starts on a level of dreams and nature, very much inspired by nature. And I like to put a lot of the things we see in real life into kind of a very dreamy sense in my work, like moons and suns and of course outer space and lots of like trees and mushrooms and grasses and all those kind of fun things that are interesting to look at. And then of course, like, you know, Pinterest and Instagram. And in the beginning, it was kind of, I was searching for inspiration, and now I feel like that I've gotten very deep into my work, and on days when I'm really in a project, my mind, like right in that moment as I'm about to fall asleep or laying in bed, my mind will start to kind of bring forth all these ideas, and I'll like doodle them out or write them down. And
good on you. See, I like to do it where I think of the most genius thing ever, and then I fall asleep and I wake up the next morning and I have no idea what it was.
Yep. I mean, hey, that has happened to me too. And it's always so unfortunate. And you say to yourself, I will definitely remember this. This is a gold idea. There's no chance I can forget it.
It's also sometimes you do remember it and you're like, oh God, I was really tired, wasn't I?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. It's like, oh, or you tell someone and as you're saying it out loud and you hear your own voice, you're like, never mind, that's so stupid.
No. So I am in the keyframes down here. If you're new to After Effects, there's many different ways that you can have keyframes interact with one another. If you just press keyframe as is with this little diamond, it'll represent it with just a normal diamond, and it'll just have the information between 2 points. But there are other ways that you can mess with them. You can have easy ease, which is the curves that, you know, ramp up and ramp down motion to them. And then there's also another one that I use a lot, which is called a hold, which means once it gets to a spot, it will not move anymore. So a lot of times when I'm doing these text animations, I'll start off with a 0 and 100, and I want it to go from absolutely invisible to visible. So I'll take the first one and I'll put a hold keyframe on it so that it will remain invisible until it's immediately at 100%. And so that's just there is control. You don't have to necessarily make them side by side. I can make this second keyframe be all the way over here, and it's not going to do a fade. It's just going to stay entirely invisible until it hits that next keyframe. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the easy ease is one of the few things I know in After Effects.
It's classic. It's a good one. I had a friend that he wanted to get the different keyframes as a tattoo, and I was like, that's actually a really good idea. But I don't have any tattoos, and I don't know if I'm talking about my mom a lot. I don't know if my mom would ever forgive me.
Yeah, my mom said that she would never forgive me, and I actually signed a paper in high school saying that I would never get any tattoos and I would never get any facial piercings. And guess what? I have both.
Yes.
I was like, sorry, Mom. And she forgave me. She was eventually like,
100%.
no, it's your body and you're old enough to make your own decisions. I can't tell you what to do. And
yep.
So
I tried to get a tattoo one time, and I even so as far as like I got to contacting the artist and everything, but we did not vibe, and she ended up ghosting me, which is actually probably for the best. But I sent her a picture of my arm where I wanted the tattoo, and I'm a very, very pale boy, and she thought it was a mannequin.
Oh my God.
And she said, oh, that's nice, but can you send me a picture of you rather than a mannequin? And so that was kind of the beginning of the downfall of the rest of it. I'll have to send you the picture of it, because I show people a picture of it all the time. They're like, oh my God, Ryan, you do look like a mannequin. I'm like, I can't help. It's my skin pigment. I don't know what to tell you.
I really want to see this now. I'm going to have to message you on Instagram after and get this photo.
So it's a thing. But since then I have not got one. I have a lot of friends with really cool tattoos though, which is a huge, that would be a cool live stream. I don't know how it would work with blood, obviously, but there is such an artistry to tattoo. And there are a few people that I know from Micah, where I went to school, that actually have become very successful in their tattoo trade. Well, not trade. Trade sounds bad, but you know what I mean. Tattoo. What would be the word? Career, I guess.
Yeah, tattoo artist career, I guess. Yeah.
Career just sounds so like white collar boring.
I know.
Tattoo artist is so much cooler than that.
Their tattoo artist journey.
Their journey.
Their journey.
That's such a 2022 word, is journey. It's
I
like
love
if
it.
you disagree with anyone, you're like, okay, that's your journey. I know, whatever.
I love that for you.
I am doing more or less a lot of the same right now. So being a chatty Cathy, just because we're kind of in the keyframes, and all I'm doing is switching between points. But if you guys have any questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, please say something in chat. Obviously, would love to add any context where I can.
Yes.
But yeah. Voodoo said, did not vibe at all. Which is funny. But yeah, no, I think that having a keyframe tattoo would actually be really cool. But now if I were to get that, though, I would feel like I'm stealing it from him. And if I would be a little upset if he found out.
You could credit him on the tattoo. Idea by
proper accreditation. We were talking about Noun Project yesterday with like using the service for free as long as you use proper accreditation. But then
yep.
It's just your body is just covered with credits. It's like when 2006 or 2007 rolled around and everybody like Jason Derulo and Lady Gaga said all their names at the beginning of their songs.
Yeah, exactly. Jason Derulo.
He actually brought it back because in his recent songs he wasn't doing it, and people are like, "Wait, what are you doing? You have to say your name."
Yeah, I know. It was like, it's so nostalgic.
Yeah,
like,
but now he goes like Derulo.
Yeah, I know. I kind of missed that time.
Right?
There were so many good ones.
So many good ones. And, it's also giving proper credit to artists. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool because a lot of producers and stuff, they work on most of the songs that you know and you love, but you just never hear about them because producer is kind of like a video editor, where they kind of just like work in the background.
Exactly. Like it used to always be like, maybe he still does it. It's like mustard on the beat.
Mustard on the beat. I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah, I think because man, I'm gonna screw it up. I think he's a producer, maybe.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe also a
producer
rapper
for Hot Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that's offensive. I'm sorry if you're watching this, Mustard. I'm sure you're a great producer. Sorry to make fun of your name. I'm sure he gets it all the time though.
Yes. Xavier said, would Adobe hire me if I get a PS tattoo? Honestly, I've been thinking about getting a Photoshop tattoo. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Right? It's like you sign your life to it already to a degree.
I know.
So it's like, why not?
I know. I have Photoshop stickers all over everything and like on my suitcases and stuff. And someone's always like, what is PS? I'm like, oh my God.
Like, you don't know? What do you do for a living? Like, am I talking to a brain surgeon? Like, what's happening?
I know. Actually, one of the people who asked me, I forget, he said, oh, this stands for, I forget what he said, was the pilot of the airplane. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Close enough to a brain surgeon. So we're good.
That's too funny. All right, we're almost done with this screen already, which is great because we have a lot more to do. And you'll be able to customize all of this with your pronouns and what have you. What I did up here, I'm not sure if I called it out when I did it, is I duplicated this purple box because I wanted it to be a clipping mask of sorts. And so you'll see that it's right up here. And I took the text that I wanted to only showcase in the box and I changed this track map to alpha. So basically that just is kind of the opposite, but the same. That's annoying to say, but in a way, you'll understand what I mean. It's like where, when you use this, it'll use all the layers below it as a track mat and our clipping mask. And when you do this, it's saying whatever is above me in this panel is the only place that I want to be visible. So I can move this up and down and it won't go out of the box. And it's also invisible. If you want to see it visible, you can make it visible, but it will hide your stuff. But it's a useful thing that I use in many of my projects. Cool. I'm feeling like the spacing of this is a little weird. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna highlight everything with a click and drag. We're gonna go in, and we did this trick yesterday. Motion, which is a plugin, has actually a little hack for this. But I click the null, and it'll add everything to the null, and then that way I can just move it all up together, and it won't mess with my keyframes. And then I think I'm gonna move up these guys as well. And I don't think I had any position effects on them for the most part. I might have though. And a way that you can do that also without a null is if you go to the one that you want to move and you just click the property that you want to adjust everything, it'll highlight everything for you. And as long as you do it, you'll see that it'll also move it. But you have to make sure that you are highlighted on top of the keyframe, because if you're over here, you'll see that I'm not on top of the keyframe. If I move it, it will just add another keyframe in that spot. So you want to make sure that they're all highlighted, and then also that you're on top of the keyframe, and that should fix it for you. So let's see. Cool. My name is your name. What is that song? John Jacob.
Yes, that's Smith. Exactly what I was just thinking of. My name is your name. Your name is my name. Is that even how it goes? No,
you're doing this land is your land. This land is my land. Another great childhood song, but not the same. But
yeah, wrong one. I was like, wait, that's not right. I started singing it and I'm like, wrong tune.
I know I talked about how we only have an hour and a half today. The last 30 minutes are actually going to be karaoke, so make sure you guys stay tuned.
So tune in.
Tune in for that. It's going to be a blast.
Let's see. Annika had a question for you. How does Ryan approach pitching himself to new clients that he wants to work with? What's the strategy he uses?
Ooh, great question. One of the things I will say is I amped myself up so much especially right out of school and in a new city, that I was going to have to do a lot of cold calls. And what became very apparent to me very quickly is cold calls sometimes work out. But for the most part, you're going to get most of your work through previous work, at least in my experience. So the importance of networking and the importance of being nice to work with, like you can be like sort of talented and have a way more successful career by being someone who is good to work with than being super talented and being difficult to work with.
Absolutely.
And stay in contact with the people that you enjoy working with, and to just like remember to like remind people in very casual settings that you are either freelance or available for hire for full time and like what you do for a living. I'm talking like even at your neighbor's kids bar mitzvah, like if you just say it to the random person, everyone comes from different walks of life, so like very quickly you'll be talking to someone and you're like, oh yeah, no, I work at NASA and we're actually looking for someone, I can't find anyone, can you please do this? And you're like, oh yeah, I thought we were just, you know, celebrating this little thing, but like suddenly it's a work opportunity, and you don't have to pull out your portfolio. Like all of that can kind of come second nature. They'll want to, you know, look at work at some point, but like and that also comes from a very privileged sense. I know that's not the case for everyone, but I would say that even no matter what your circumstances, just not being ashamed that you're looking for work is half the battle. Like just be casual, just let it roll off your back like, you know, water on a duck. Like just, yeah, no, I do work, and have pride in it and tell people about it, and you'll be surprised how many different business opportunities come from that, because recruiting is hard. You think that, you know, you can go to Google and type in I need a designer. There's some great resources like Behance job tab, but like even with that, sometimes you get overwhelmed or you get like a weird group of people. You don't know if you're dealing with a scammer. I'm not saying Behance deals with scammers. I'm not trying to put that in a bad light. I'm just saying that like there's something to be said about meeting someone at your neighbor's kid's bar mitzvah. Which I did not meet anyone at my neighbor's kid's bar mitzvah. I don't know why I'm using that as my example. But there's something to be said there, and you're like, oh cool, like I know you're a real person and I know that we can have a conversation. I have an idea that you're not going to scam me. Whereas like sometimes online that's harder. That's not to say you should not put your stuff online. I'm just saying in addition to that, you should also really talk to it and just be honest that you're looking for stuff.
Totally.
I don't know if I like the green of this. Should we make this like a pink?
Yeah, 100%. Like hot pink.
Like hot pink.
Yeah.
As long as the yeah, that works. That's better.
Now I can directly use this.
This is just for you. Surprise. I've just been commissioned by Anna, you guys. I wasn't even supposed to be the guest. She just needed some help. So
oh, I love it. I have a quick question regarding the colors, and then Eduardo, I see your question, so I will definitely get to that next for Ryan. If someone wanted to do gradients or a photo in place of like the blue background, could they do that?
Yeah, 100%. Cool. As this is right now, this is actually even just transparent background, and we can get to that. You can do a layer, you can do new solid, and you could add any sort of color that you wanted, and it'll just kind of be like a box of sorts that takes up the whole frame, and you add it to the bottom. But then you can also go and go to effect generate, or over here, and it'll be under generated as well, and you can do a gradient ramp, and if you add that to that situation, you then have control. You can move these around a little bit. You can also make a gradient or something in Illustrator that has a really cool feature. I said we weren't going to be an Illustrator, but I'm going to hop in real quick. Really cool feature where you can use this gradient tool, and we'll say, where's my gradients window? Gradient. Oh, it's already up. That's over here. And there's this one that I love to use, and you can have different points, and you know, you can have more than just two colors, and you can move around. You can make some more like bigger and smaller, and you would just export that. Probably for me, I like to export it like as a PNG, and then you would just put the PNG in the background. But I think this is the coolest thing to be able to play. You can even add more points, you know, you get real
Very
crazy.
cool.
Suddenly it's Euphoria, you know.
Yes, I love it.
I'm gonna put
So
my shadow
into that.
on. It's great. I should have done that today. I should have just come on the stream in full drag today and just not addressed it.
Oh, that would have been so awesome. Next time for sure.
Eduardo says, how can I find a job opportunity
yes.
having no degree, just experience as a freelancer? Talking to people. Just tell people. That's all you got to do. You got to just keep talking to people. And you'll be surprised as to where jobs come from. Also, put your stuff online. A lot of people don't promote themselves, and you feel like you promote yourselves because you promoted yourself 3 months ago. But I'm telling you, no one saw that a week after you posted it.
Exactly.
Because the internet moves so fast.
Yeah, I've heard the number 7 repeated a number of times for the number of times someone needs to see something before they actually pay attention to it or take action. But I remember in one of my marketing classes, we learned that it takes so maybe 7 times for the individual person to take action, but it takes about 40 sometimes for it to actually get to that person based on algorithms and everything. I was like, oh my God, like in Facebook advertising, that was kind of a big thing that was coming up of like, it's going to have to be, you know, you have to pump money into it for that because it has to be seen like 40 times.
Yeah, man, that's exhausting, and it's always constantly changing as well, which is crazy. It's just like, you might have something that works for a month and then the algorithm changes and it's like, okay, good luck everybody.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep,
Bummer.
exactly.
Okay.
Like Instagram, rip.
I know, right? I still have a love-hate relationship with them.
I know. I feel that.
Okay, so this is actually this is all one layer, which was a goofy move, Ryan. Way to go. And what we're gonna do is, this is gonna be a little difficult, but we're gonna make it work. We want to make it be in front and behind the curtain. So I am going to kind of divide this up into a better representation of layers and being able to animate it. So I want to actually, what are we going to do? I want to create a new file, save this as something else, and cut it up so that it makes it a little bit easier to just focus on only the curtains because it's such a complex shape. And then we'll go from there. So cool. Let's see here. Delete everything else except for maybe the reference of the background, just because I like to have that. That's a preference too. Also, something I didn't learn until way longer, and I even asked a professor at Micah and they didn't know the answer, which was crazy. I have to go to trim view, and it will only show you the what's within the art box, and then it will only like show you to the crop. I think that it's really helpful because then it gives you an idea, kind of like a Photoshop like document box, whereas otherwise you're kind of like you can save everything without artboards, but this also really helps, especially if you're working for stuff on content or related media that is constrained to something. It gives you a closer idea to the final product, and you can switch that on and off. It's really helpful. So I worked for that. It's way too long. I don't have it as a key command, but I think that it's something that you could set up a key command for, and it would be great. Let's see here. Let's see. I want to go ahead. I'm going to divide the two of these like this. And I'm going to do it so it's in the front and in the back. And so it'll be one object essentially, but it's actually going to be a two objects kind of put together, and then that way when we can put one higher up in the layers panel than the others. So then that way we can kind of pop this right here, and then when we move this to the top, voila, now it looks like it's going through the curtain, which is nice. It's gonna be a little bit annoying just because we have so many of them, but you know, there's worse things. And then secondary, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to divide these up into separate segments that then we can then kind of all be added together to create it. And we're going to use the Pathfinder for this, where I go and I hit that. Now we have this bad boy. I'll say bad boy a lot, which I think is kind of cringy, but it's okay. It's just
I always end up doing that too. For so many, I'm like, move this bad boy here, put this boy here, put this guy here. I'm like, what am I doing?
Who knows, you know? We can even actually take this, honestly, and we can make this probably into one singular object. And then that way it'll be less messy, actually. So let's do that. The only thing I am a little worried about, not worried, but I guess that works fine. That works fine. I was gonna say I didn't know how the two kind of live together. But yeah, we'll deal with that in a second. Sorry, I have someone hit me up.
Like, wait, let me just answer my text real quick.
No, it's just someone they mean well, but they didn't realize that I was broadcasting, so I just had to be like, hey guys, hi. BRB. Which is such a funny and weird thing. Like, I love the new feature on iPhone that now when you go to text someone, if they have do not disturb on, it'll tell you they have do not disturb on.
Yeah.
That has come in clutch. It also makes me know when my old roommate is taking a nap, which she's always taking a nap.
Yes. Although you can actually turn it off so other people can't see if you have do not disturb on. So I've set mine so that people can't see it, because like in some ways it's nice because then someone will be like, oh, you're working. But then I also don't want to have to be like, oh yeah, I was napping, or I was like, sorry, I get back to you tomorrow, or I went to bed at 6 o'clock tonight, you know. Like, people don't need to know when I'm on my phone and when I'm not.
You're so funny. But that is something I'm also away from my phone, sorry. That also is something that is really admirable, is UI UX design, and seeing the new ways that we interact with technology and our phones. And I really like watching the Adobe XD live broadcast, because I don't know too much about it, but it is really inspiring to see people work on that. Yeah,
that's something that I'd really like to learn. But, and going back to our conversation yesterday, another thing that I'm like, oh, I really want to learn some app design and a little of everything.
Add it to the list, you know.
Yep.
Let's see here. Where did I save this? I saved it right here. There we go. And then we're gonna go to composition layer size, and it should pop up. We'll see here. We're gonna go to frame 3. I'm kind of most excited and most terrified of this frame, but that's life, you know. Oh wait, did I not divide it properly? Because I'm a dweeb. I'm a dweeb. All right, that's fine. Simple enough. We can just go ahead and we can copy this and put this onto another layer.
What
Reverb
were those?
Mike says that After Effects can see my layers, so I have to use them strategically. I know, it keeps me up at night.
What were the dots for? What were they representing?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
So they're going to be what a hand pulls down to open
up
the curtain.
That's right. Okay.
So they're kind of just floating, but then we'll hop right into that.
Cool.
Right after we get it to swing open. You'll see that it is great. It just automatically updated. Did I add a new layer though? I think I did. So I'm going to use Overlord for this, which I talked a little bit about yesterday, which is you can just push the selection to AE. It'll turn it into either several layers, or you could turn it off into be only one layer. I originally was going to have it as one layer, but now that I'm taking it, we're going to be pulling them, and it might be nice to actually have them as separate layers. So we'll come back to that. I'm going to put a null on them just so they all move together. And then we have the fun time of being able to hop in here and just duplicating this curtain pillar, as I called it, a bunch of different times, and putting them side by side. Then we'll have them fling open. But yeah, these little Barney colors. Did you watch Barney growing up? Love me some Barney.
I was obsessed with Barney.
I feel like we have very similar paths.
Definitely. By the way, I'm going to be in New York City mid-June, around June 20th. So we should definitely hang out.
Yeah, let's do something.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because there's a lot of like events that are finally coming back that haven't been back since 2019. Because even things were open last year, it was still kind of like I don't know if we should do this. And this is the first year that like it kind of seems like the city is kind of like, all right, we're just going to try to do it as safe as possible.
I know.
And it's super exciting because it feels very energizing again to be in New York City, which, you know, is one of the biggest cities in the world, and actually have it feel like it's a real city.
Absolutely. And does it feel like is it kind of buzzing again, like people outside and eating at restaurants and bars and all the normal stuff?
It is weird, I will say, that a lot of places closed, but in those places a lot of places opened. So your favorite place might not exist anymore, but now there's something else for you to try, which is bittersweet, you know.
Yeah.
I think these are probably actually a little closer together because we don't want to have the curtain getting in the way of the work. So I could actually probably even reduce my layer sizes here and put in an adjustment layer and do a mirror effect. So maybe we'll do that. And sometimes it really helps to just reduce the amount of layers you have in your project, because then you are a little bit kinder to your system. And we all have different systems, whether you're working on a MacBook or you're working on a nice tower like me. It's helpful. So yeah, all this is just, 2 keyframes saying here to here. We're going to add some curves to them so that they are a little bit nicer in their animation. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to delete all these guys, these bad boys, as you would say. And I'm going to use something called an adjustment layer. And so an adjustment layer is an invisible layer that you can add effects to that affect everything below it. So I add an adjustment layer. You can see I can move it around. Nothing's happening because nothing's on it. Save your work, everybody. And go to my effects. And I'm just going to put in a mirror, which is under distort. And if I add the reflection center to the center here, it should, just like that. And then it'll pop open and close. It looks like I accidentally have a second curtain here that I'm not supposed to have. Since we're talking about self-promo, is there any recent work that you've done, Anna, that you are excited about and you are proud of?
Yes. So I recently released a collection of 30 images called Faces of the Moon, and it's volume 2. And it's an NFT series, but I've been kind of sharing them on Instagram too. And so it's each one represents each day of the lunar month, moving through each phase of the moon. Cool. And I'm super happy with how the artwork turned out. It's a combo of photography and Photoshop work, and then 3D work that my brother did. And so we collaborated on many of the pieces, and some of them I just think, to toot my own horn, are like some of the best work I think I've done. So I'm very, very happy with them. And now I'm just working on getting them sold.
Putting you on blast here. So are they these guys?
Yeah. So I haven't posted all of
Beautiful.
them just yet. That's day 6. And I'm trying to think where I have them all.
They're so different, which is really cool. Is like how
Thank
you can
you.
still see that they're all unified, but they're all very similar. And
Yeah.
you have a thing going on.
Yeah, I need to actually share somewhere like where you can see all of them immediately, because I've been going through each day, and that was from phase 1, day
I love
28,
this.
or sorry,
This is cool
volume
lighting.
1. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, this is just begging for moon in there.
But it like messes with your head, because like, why would the moon be in between the, it's in front of this tree, but it's very fantasy, very surreal. I really like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. But yeah, so how long have you been doing that for?
The moon specifically. So I started making them back in June, I think. And then released the first volume of the collection on OpenSea in August. And then that one sold all of those, and then decided to do a second volume that would be like more advanced work and different concepts, and kind of more of like a sci-fi look to some of them. And so, yeah, that started, I would say I started working on it seriously in January, and then just released them like a few weeks ago.
Wow. So it's still very relatively new. That's really exciting.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to be kind of relaunching them next week, I think, to kind of do like so they currently are on OpenSea for the NFT platform, but I've moved them all over to Super Rare, which is a much more prestigious platform. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And then they're going to be kind of relaunched, and then I'm going to do a whole spread on my website talking about the whole thing and the project and why. And because I realized I wasn't putting enough out there about why I was doing this. So
I think that also like that it kind of ties back to our discussion a little bit about documenting your work and promoting yourself. And I think there's something to be said about like, yes, you can post the work, but sometimes you feel spammy when you do. Real quick, by the way, you see that I have all these keyframes and they're separate. They're different technically. And I want to duplicate them. If I were to copy and paste them, I'll show you what it looks like. If I were to press Control C and Control V, it would then create a bunch of new layers. So I have some of these plugins over here, Keystone, and what it'll actually do is if I just click duplicate, it'll plop it up like that, and it'll move everything over, and it won't create new layers. So Keystone's great as well. But one way that you can kind of continue to promote yourself if you're worried about feeling spammy is doing exactly what you're talking about, and talking about why, or talking about the process, or talking about sharing early stages or things that didn't make it all the way through. They just give you an excuse to be like, oh yeah, you might have seen this, you probably didn't because of the algorithm. This is a pre-made of this thing, and then you have another excuse to then again post the final piece. Which practice what I preach, because I don't do that, but it is something when I see other people do it, I'm like, you're smart. Yeah, I know, absolutely. And this has been a big test in this project has been a big test in figuring out how many times can I share something and people notice it or not notice it, and when do I become annoying? And so many people have said, oh wow, I just saw this like yesterday, or oh, like what is this project? I'm like, oh my God, I guess I'm not talking about it enough, and I think I'm being annoying. So it really just goes to show like how often you have to continue to push something that you're excited about. Val wants to know if you have any advice for people looking to get into making NFTs.
That could honestly be a whole stream.
Yes, it could, absolutely.
I don't know if I want to get into it because there's so much. No, that's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess my first advice, I'm actually starting to do, it's a long process, but I'm starting to do reels teaching people how to get into NFTs. So
love that. That's cool.
Stay tuned for that. Come over to my Instagram, little self-promotion. But my little nutshell of advice is to get very involved with the NFT scene on Twitter and pay attention to what people are saying and doing and posting and where they're posting. And from there, you'll learn so much. And then just ask other artists that are involved in it. Like I may regret saying this, but my DMs are always open. So anyone.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna regret saying that immediately. I don't know why you would say that.
Seems like we got a good group here.
And NFT DMs are the worst. I get 500 NFT DMs on Instagram any given day. Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah, those are horrible when you get the DMs that are like, check out this new collection. Here's 100 new
hungry whales.
Yeah, hungry whales.
Cool.
Oh my God.
Sure, why not?
So crazy. And then of course the ones that you see very often are the ones that totally flop. And then the ones that no one hears about are the ones that like take off.
Right. Like,
I took one day off of Twitter, and that was when this collection called Moonbirds came out. And
Moonbirds. I've heard of Moonbirds.
Yep. And it was going for 2.5 Ethereum. And the second it got onto the secondary market, it was already at 12 Ethereum. And now they're at 40 Ethereum. And my friend sold his for $500,000.
Oh my. All right. Okay.
So
that's something.
Yeah.
Certainly ain't nothing. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, but
I'll take it.
I know. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Yeah, sure.
What do I have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. So all I'm doing here is I decided that I wanted to have oops, that didn't merge. Like a little bit of outline, kind of in the same way that we have the other one. And we're gonna go to object, path, offset path. A little bit. We'll switch it here, and then I'm going to push it back with Overlord. There we go. Cool. No, that's really exciting. I have not made any of my own NFTs. I am a very big techie person, so I have always been interested in new technologies and new ways that the internet works. Obviously, it doesn't come without its controversy because of environmental concerns and stuff, but I'm not, I don't want to get too much into it, but I do get excited about them. I do get excited about the prospect of new ways that we experience art and the way that we work with accrediting artists. I know that Adobe is working on the content authenticity initiative. And then also you can also mint or post your minted NFTs to Behance, which is cool.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And so that's a new field, and it's just really cool because like a lot of the places are they're still in concept phase. I don't know if I like this white outline.
Oh wow, look at that.
We'll see. But a lot of them are in a concept phase. But some of the stuff that people are concepting, like over in Silicon Valley for Web 3.0, is so inspiring. And I'm like, I have no idea what the internet will look like in 5 years. And I, had you asked me that 2 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I have a pretty good idea of like what the internet will look like. And like once again, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of really cool to be on the edifice of something big again.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I know.
I'm really excited that you have a whole like successful series going on. And I'm so excited that you're on Super Rare. So
yeah, thank you.
So exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. I'm in the process of working on what will become my first one-of-one super rare piece. And that's to use our favorite word again, a journey.
Yeah, a journey. It's your journey.
And it's kind of going to be a journey back through my my art career and a look inside kind of like my mental state and
oh gosh, it's getting darker and darker.
I know.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm not brave enough.
Yeah. And then tying in a lot of places from our travels that have really just helped in my art career. So yeah, it should be pretty fun. I'm going to write a whole bunch of stuff for it and tie it in with some journal entries, but
I will be excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I went ahead and I pulled up Pen Pal because I was originally gonna like work with the tweaking of this to follow the complexity of this closing by working with the vertices, but I think it might just be wiser, honestly, to go ahead and just do a scale. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use motion to move the anchor point to the left middle. I'm going to navigate to where the curtains are fully open and add another scale point. I'm going to unlink these two so that it doesn't scale vertically. It only can scale left and right. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring this down and try to match it. The stroke is looking a little goofy, but we can probably mess with that, I think, by animating it in the contents panel, but I'm not entirely sure. Yes, you can. And so with that, I can then kind of increase the stroke width to supplement our struggle with it getting goofy looking. So also, cool. The ease is different, you can see here. So we're going to use another one of my plugins. When we got off the stream yesterday, Paco was like, I forgot you were the plugin king. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot how much I just like throw stuff around. All of this stuff, a lot of it can already be done without plugins. But it makes your life a lot easier. It expedites it. It makes things faster. And then also it's just cool that they're all compatible with these Adobe products and they just help it bring it to the next level if it's something that you're doing a lot. Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. And so all I'm doing is I am copying the ease of motion and pasting it into one another without it affecting the size of the actual contents. So cool to think about. I don't know if I absolutely love it, but we might have to just work with it for now because we're on borrowed time.
Oh yeah. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome in.
We can actually probably put this also underneath our adjustment layer. That way it also duplicates. Ta-da. I don't know. How do you feel about the line?
I don't think I like it.
You don't think you like it? I don't think I like it either. It has like consistency of style, but I just don't think it is polished enough to work for it. Maybe we take a stroke. No, you were to say something. Go for it. Go for it.
I was just thinking, did the line crinkle when you?
Oh, when I adjusted it, yes, and it got weird to be out of place.
Yeah.
So I think that it might just not be. It could take more time, but it's not necessarily something that is needed. And I think we can just find other solutions.
Cool.
When in doubt, pivot.
Yes.
Pivot. Did you have to pivot a lot when you were working on your moon pieces?
Yeah, a little bit. I would say in terms of ideas, luckily because I'm at a huge pivot point right now with it because I actually have to change some pricing and some structure of things. But luckily because it was my own project, there were pivots, but it wasn't like this big deal, you know?
It wasn't a big to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all because of my own determination,
choices.
my own ideas and working with my brother. I have definitely gone through some major pivots though on client projects or also just life pivots of realizing, oh, I don't want to be a graphic designer anymore. I don't want to work a corporate job anymore. I want to buy a van and travel the country and not think about anything anymore.
You want to do van life? But you have such a pretty house now from the 10 feet that I can see behind you.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we did van life for 2 years. We left LA and did van life for a while. And we're actually headed out west on a big trip for a couple months this summer. And but yeah, now we have a house. So it's nice to have both.
I have friends that did van life. And the only thing I could not get down with, I can get down with no showers and stuff. Well, not no showers. Obviously you shower, you just do it strategically, or you get like one of those ones. But the one that I could not do is they had a toilet next to their bed that was just sawdust, and I was like, that's where I call it.
No,
I can't do that one. I can't make that work.
No, I don't blame you for that. We don't do that, nor will I ever.
It's super inspiring though, because they've gone to so many places and they've updated their Instagram. And I've just been like, oh, today's view. And they like open the van door and it's this beautiful mountain range. And I was like in quarantine in New York City. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. Maybe I could do the sawdust. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there are many other options. So if you're ever interested, happy to talk to you about which toilet to use.
Well, that would be a really cool design series too, of just like your experience of van life and like different tips and tricks of things that you found. Because I'm sure there's stuff that you read online that probably didn't necessarily resonate with you once you put it into practice, and probably other things that you're like, wow, this is really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. We wrote an ebook all about like van life, but to do kind of some sort of video series would definitely be awesome. And we do a ton of videos on our TikTok and our reels, like teaching people simple things
even
about
though you
van
hate
life.
it.
But exactly. I don't mind reels as much, even though it's basically the same concept. At least our audience is the audience we want, and not 15-year-old TikTokers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But...
all right. That's what it is. Got it. All right. That's funny.
Yeah.
But that's exciting because, there's definitely different. We were talking a little bit about Behance yesterday in the audience and how much I like the audience, because I drink the Behance Kool-Aid, but I also make the Behance Kool-Aid. But one thing is that, the community on Behance is unlike anything else that I have experienced elsewhere. And it's a reason why I stick around as much as I do.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool to do some live stream on Behance.
Yeah, absolutely. You should. I mean, even if it's van life related, or if it's related to your NFT projects, or if it's maybe just, why you don't want to do graphic design anymore sort of thing. There's a lot to be taken away.
Was that something for the live streaming on your own page? Was that something that you had to apply for, or how did that work?
So if you have Creative Cloud, I believe it is now available for everybody, and it took a while to roll out, but now I think everything is rolled out. And I got into it originally through Twitch when I used to have a webcomic series, and it was a way that I saw some other webcomic artists doing it, and I just got into it. And I was a theater kid in high school, and it like scratches that itch of performative, where I don't necessarily have that performative ability elsewhere. And it's kind of cool to be able to add that to motion design or graphic design and be able to perform while I work on stuff. And also it makes things less lonely. I get to talk to people. I'm a chatty Cathy, so it's nice to work.
Absolutely.
All right, so we want to put the frame underneath here. We're doing time. So we're going to do Artist Spotlight at 4:30, right? And then we'll have a little bit of time to come back, right?
Yes,
but not an insane amount of time. So
so we'll have
got to be efficient.
About maybe 20 minutes after we do Artist Spotlight.
I can make it work.
Yes.
You're telling me it's possible. It's possible.
And don't forget, anyone who, if you want to submit yourself or a friend for Artist Spotlight, be sure to click the tab over in the chat so that you can fill out the form and hopefully see your art over here on one of our Adobe live streams.
This is looking a lot tinier because we didn't push the curtains as far back as we originally had concepted. But don't panic, because everything is on a mirror, so we only got to do it once. Stop panicking. Stop it.
Panicking.
But so wait, I know I keep going back to the NFT thing, but I am really interested in kind of just like your work and your process. What got you invested into the moon? Why the moon? I know you like space and stuff.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Why
Good question.
That?
This is a little woo-woo for Adobe Live, but
oh, is it? Okay, well, we don't have to do it. I don't
I won't get too woo-woo, but I've always loved like the moon, outer space, all of that. And I would say the moon has become kind of like spiritual guidance in a way. When there's
right
a
on.
full moon, like I absolutely love sitting outside, and like I don't go as far woo woo as being like I'm going to charge my crystals or make moon water, anything like that. But I like to sit there and look at the moon and kind of like reflect on my thoughts and my life and like let it all go. Very much like an intention receiving and releasing person. And I mean, I don't know. I think some people are either sun worshipers, which I definitely am too, or moon worshipers, and I'm very much a moon goddess. So that
I mean,
kind
I'm a
of
night
started
owl,
it
so
all.
I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with you or not. I don't know if you're a morning person or not.
I am a night owl too.
Okay, cool. All right, so we get our energy from the same place.
Yes, exactly. But
so
yeah,
I think that's better. I think we don't need the bumps on the side, right? Like I think it's still pretty clear.
I think that looks good.
So it'll, ta-da! And then we just have to create a little space here like this. Just making a box. I'm gonna make it whatever color we want to. We'll make it this ugly green, even though green is my favorite color. And what I'm going to do is, with it selected, I'm going to press Control-Shift-C. Yes, and that'll open the pre-compose section. And the pre-compose section just makes another composition with what we've got. And I'm going to say, put your polished work here. And then I have I have a plugin where you can go and you can click it, and it does auto crop. And so it will resize the size of the composition that I made to just the size of the box, because otherwise it has the same canvas size. But now if we pop into here, we can put something and it will be our work. So we'll hop over to Anna's page and I'm going to steal a moon.
Oh.
Which we won't have when we distribute the files, but we're just doing it for a thing. As long as that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Although it might be mad at me and not let me rip it with my screen record right now. It's not letting me. Maybe Instagram has gotten smarter. It's always a constant battle of ripping things off of like YouTube or Instagram.
I know.
I've gotten banned from Instagram a few times. Yeah,
really?
no, that's why it's giving me a hard time for even screenshotting. Yeah, no, because I used to go into the source code when I was like, I wasn't stealing stuff. I was normally working on client projects and they would be like, oh, just take it off of our Instagram. And I'd be like, okay, I can do that, but it's going to like get me in trouble. And I'd go into the source code to pull it from the website and they'd be like, are you a robot? And I'm like, no, I'm just, my clients aren't being as easy as I want them to be. So I have to re-verify everything. It's the things we do, you know?
Yep, exactly.
But all that to say, there are lots of free resources online to make things a little bit easier. One of which I just used to rip your moon.
Oh,
Ta-da!
You might have to tell us how you did that.
I don't know. Am I gonna get in trouble with Adobe?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna keep to myself a bare little secret. I'll hit DM me if you guys want to know, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, now you're gonna really regret that one too.
Not. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, oops! I forgot that we have that adjustment layer, which might cause a little bit of a problem for us. So what we'll have to do is we'll just have to pre-compose again this this adjustment layer so that it only is in reference to the curtains, which shouldn't be a problem. So we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go Control-Shift-C, and then I'm just gonna call this curtains mirrored. And then now, ta-da! It shouldn't give us any trouble.
Mick said, how much would all these plugins that you're using
cost? Oh boy. Oh, I don't think I even want to do the math. Some of them are free, some of them are pricier. I've acquired them over the years, which has brought down some of the sticker shock. But Motion, I think, is like 50 or 60. Overlord, I think it's like 50 or 60. Gift Gun might be 30 or 40. Simple Text around 30 or 40. Autocrop was relatively cheap. It might have even been name your own price, so it might be like $5. Same with Ease Copy. Keystone and Keyfast, I think I was given to me by the developers when I interviewed them for a promo. So I don't know how much those are. But yeah, no, just investing in a few, like they're all really great. And I really like a lot of the developers that I've talked to. One that I think is one of the biggest bang for your buck though is Motion. If you look up Motion 3, that's $50 or $60. It's a really great investment, and you can kind of go from there. They have some stuff in here that is actually duplicative of the plugins that I have elsewhere, especially with these tools. So I think that if you were to be like, I have like $50 and I want to find one that I want to do, some of these are more niche, but I just like them because they're always on the forefront and I can just click them for ease of access. But if you're looking for just the features themselves, yeah, definitely check out Motion 3. If you're hopping in between Illustrator and After Effects a lot, Overlord is also really great. But you know, there's a bunch different. You know, it's all preference. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
What did we say we were gonna put underneath here? Here's something polished I made. So we'll go here, and we'll say here's something polished I made. But I'm gonna grab the text from over here. And I think what we're going to do is we might not do the unpolished one. I think we'll just do the where you can find me online. And that way we'll have a completed thing. I'm happy to still work on it and provide it for you guys though. So just as far as working on it on stream today, I want to make sure that we get to a good stopping point. And now I'm just thinking of Your Land is My Land every time I read this.
My name is your name. Your name is my name.
Oh man, I guess I could say here's something like polished I made, or here's something. How about what if I'm saying I'm proud of?
Yeah,
we like that positivity.
Yeah.
I do not like that apostrophe though. Why does it look like that? We're going to stretch that out. Sorry, type designers.
Don't hate us.
I talked about yesterday about how I am not into type, so I could break the rules. All right. Whoa, and that's going to pop up from there. We don't want that. What's happening there? Because I copied it from another place and it has too many keyframes. So we'll go in. You can always click this stopwatch too to just get rid of all of them, and just whatever you're landed on in the moment pops up. But you can also go through and just delete them manually as well. Let's see. We got lots of wonderful Instagram drops from Voodoo in the chat.
Yeah.
Some clickable links from above. Let's see. Just looked up Overlord and it's 45. Oh, okay, cool. So that's around what it was. Also, hi Frank. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Hello to McCorden. And if I missed anyone, if you guys tune into my streams on a daily basis, I stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Which normally there is another Adobe Live going on, but normally I go until like 6. So then Adobe Live goes offline, and then you get pushed over to me, and I'm like, hi, now you got to deal with me. So if you watch Adobe Live, as you should, you'll still run into me afterwards, which is nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to actually go ahead, and just because we are about to run right into time for an artist spotlight, I'm going to make a new comp, and I like to put an exclamation point at the front of it and say main. Like I said, a lot of times you can just drag and drop compositions straight into Premiere and it works well, but because we're not really dealing with audio, a lot of times I just like to go ahead and make a main composition within After Effects and then kind of like put things back to back, which might not, be accurate or maybe the best workflow, depending on your preferences, but it works for me, and we're all different. So there's that.
So there's that.
Story of my life. Okay, so we'll start off with a hello. And so this is just going to loop forever. We made it so it'll loop forever. I don't really like, honestly, actually how it goes back and forth. I want to change the rotation of it real quick. Oh, because it doesn't have any things to it. There we go. So we'll do like this. We'll go. That's much cuter.
Yeah, I love it.
So that'll technically loop forever. So instead, we'll just say it's also like you spend all this time to design things, but then you also remember that people click through stories so fast that you need to get to the point. So even though I have pride in that, I need to make sure that we move on very quickly. I am pressing the left bracket to make this move over to the side. And that way it moves, it doesn't cut it, it just moves it off. I do need to go in here and update this hand since I updated the other hand. Like that. There we go.
I love seeing it all come together, like everything's.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. That's why I also kind of like to save it for the end too of putting things together, because then you're like, oh, cool, this is fun.
Yeah.
And we don't really have much of a transition for this one into the next, but I think that that's okay because I don't necessarily know how we would. I mean, I guess we could maybe like have it. I know what we'll do. We'll have this move up. And so we'll add a position frame here and go like here. And then we're going to actually do time. Now, there's two ways we could do it. We could do enable time remapping, and then you can extend it. So then that way you have a freeze frame at the beginning. Or I could go in and add time to the beginning of it. I think we're actually just going to do that. Where we bring this up to the side, and then we'll go from there.
Cool. Do you want to
jump in? It's that time, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll let you introduce it though. I just cut you off as you were introducing it. So you're the host. You take it. You
you're good. I could just sit here and let you host yourself.
No, I'm having such a wonderful time with you. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so thankful that you're hosting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, ditto. And yeah, it is time for the artist spotlight. So Ryan is going to kick us off with it, and yeah, let's go over to the.
I feel like I need to have hype music or something.
I know. Need to have like
boom, boom. I feel like I should have a video.
DJ Khaled, we the best.
Mustard boy or whatever it
Mustard
was.
on the beat.
Dude, I'm gonna slowly move it up. Ignore. I'm so sorry about my notifications, everybody. You follow people, they get you things. So
yes.
Mathew George, check it out. He's a design generalist.
Congratulations.
And he has a wallet as well. So does he have anything he's collected?
Oh yeah.
Does that happen when I click it? Maybe that doesn't. It might be weird because I have screen share on and stuff. So actually I don't even know that. I don't want to pull up my MetaMask. But wow, yeah, this is he's from the United Kingdom, from London, and has really great range of design and legibility, which is always really powerful. I really like the type, which really shows kind of an exploration of different forms. And like a lot of times you see something like this and someone's work will look all like that, but you compare that with the first three that we have, and it's just it's so cool.
I know, there's like, oh man, he's doing such an incredible use of type and color together, and the form as a whole, like very, very good.
There's a trend, especially in typography, of creating texture using type forms. And I think it's really admirable to the idea of type design, because there is so much that goes into the letter forms, and being able to leverage the shapes that they create to then create texture and other visual interests is just giving it another use case rather than just straight up legibility. Which is really nice here. And it's cool to see them all side by side as well.
Yeah, really, really good stuff.
Got your social media posts. We have some carousels. Let's check out some greeting cards, because I'm always a sucker for a greeting card. Great presentation of this, by the way. Immediately pop in. Not only can I see that there's a top like a hero image that you can then click into high resolution, but it's just enough and it's just short enough that then I am already magically like intrigued to go down. But then with the animations, especially with this like confetti, it just is like really entices you to kind of continue and explore the whole project, which is really nice.
I agree. Yeah, really good use of motion.
Because yeah, motion doesn't always have to be something that is, everything coming in and going out. Sometimes like it can just be a highlight or some sort of accent that really brings it to the next level. I will say that for this project in particular, I would love to see some more interaction of the content with some of the highlights. So like for this one in particular, I don't necessarily need to see this cross because the cross doesn't necessarily add anything to the content that we have. If the cross was maybe centered, then I could see how it would maybe be guiding the eye to kind of go along with these shapes. But instead, it kind of feels separate from the content itself. I think it's really successful, kind of like I was saying up here, or especially with these stars, because it feels like it's making a direct connection to the content underneath of it. But if you wanted to bring it to another level and continue to work on it, because no project is ever done, just maybe taking some of those and masking or warping things to make it feel a little bit more unique to the subject at hand.
Yeah, I think that's really good feedback.
And yeah, just, I mean, as far as features go and the idea of giving feedback, it's always important to see, if someone wants feedback. I kind of just gave unwarranted feedback, but but also the best artists in the entire world can still have feedback given to them. And everyone has an opinion, and there's things that you can take and you can roll with it, and you also don't have to necessarily take it. And it's nice to hear more perspectives. Totally. This is another really strong one. Yeah. Negative space here is really cool because you can still see that it says type, but it's pretty much the bare minimum. If you took anything else away, it would be hard to see.
Wow.
But I like that.
Yeah, these are really, really cool. He seems to definitely have an eye and understanding for the type and the pattern, and then the negative space. And as you were saying, like making the texture too.
And also just way of showcasing it. I like the lighting here too, the slats.
Yeah, I'm wondering if these were made in the computer or if he photographed any of them.
And he like brought them out. I'm enjoying the size of these guys, and I like the overlapping here, where they kind of create chaos. I would say that for maybe this area here where they kiss, I'd either have them kiss more or have more space or overlap more, just because since these have such a crossover, you would want to also have either that kind of be resonated here where this almost kind of feels separate from these other four. And then same with this, maybe lining this all up or jagging it out so it feels a little bit more intentional. And then like getting rid of something like this, like black line here. This is really cool with the shipping containers.
I love a cool
texture
here. Awesome. Like you can imagine that in an ad in a magazine. It's like very clean.
And it goes along also with like the vertical language that you have with this long P and the vertical slats of the storage line, which is really nice.
Yeah, some good inspiration here.
Is there anyone in particular you want me to click on?
Let's see. I'm curious. And Chase the Moon. We got to click on that.
Oh, wait, I gotta find it.
Up a little.
There it is. Yeah, it's got your moon energy. Yeah. I love how you keyed out the portions of some of the moon for darkness that then seamlessly go into your background color. That is very nice.
That's super cool.
I also enjoy the fact that the dark night sky isn't the darkest thing on the page. I like the silhouette and the darkness of the time here.
Look at the flashlight too. That's so cool.
Oh, the flashlight's so smart. That's so nice.
Love that. I really go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that it also adds really nice weight distribution because there's so much white here and here, and down here there's otherwise not white. But I hadn't noticed an unbalance because the flashlight provides the balance needed to leverage that, give and take.
Yeah, and I really love to when in posters or projects, like people will use one of the elements within the design to interact with the border, whether it's in this case like cut out or overlapping, or like where there's deliberately like a drawn piece of tape or something. I think it makes it really fun and like ties the two worlds of the design and then the real outside world together.
Absolutely. Having that tactile feel is something that kind of, I know we talked a little bit about animation yesterday and 2D animation, but the idea that like we have now finally gone past, the 2000s and 2010s where we were trying so hard to make digital completely separate, that now we like are trying to have this crossover where it's like you want to have digital, but you also kind of wanted to have it reflect a little bit of the physicality of not normal design, but traditional design.
Totally.
And having everything be completely perfect sometimes feels too sterile.
Yeah.
And being able to add that. I really like this CMC. That's really fun. Looks like a bicycle, which is cool.
Yeah.
My one piece of feedback for this one would be just lining up the left alignment here. You got the M's here that are a little bit different and juts in and out. It might even be properly aligned, but you might want to go in and adjust it optically to make sure that it lines up. So that, well, not optically, it does it mathematically, but then it might optically need to be lined up. And then just giving some space for these boys down here. Just
these boys.
Sorry, these pieces of content. And just giving them a little bit more room to breathe from the side, just because you have really great breadth over here. And it would just be nice to kind of see it almost have a little bit of padding down here.
I agree. Yeah. And is that something that you'll do sometimes if you have things lined up mathematically the way they should be, but optically they look off? Will you override what the computer says is lined up?
Yep. Got to hop into that kerning. Got to hop into like, you just, when you go in and you just tap the little arrow buttons just a few times, go back and forth, doubt myself, question it, walk away from it, come back. But computers do a lot of the heavy lifting, but it's also important to also have confidence in kind of your own eye and sometimes fight the computer and make what you want to make, because it might not, optically serve whatever you want to make happen.
Definitely.
And then I guess we can just look at this one last real quick.
Yeah, that sounds good.
These are nice little cards. I think you did a really good job speaking of spacing. I think this one is really strong as far as giving everything enough space to breathe from the sides and feel really solid and centered. I think things like this in particular have a really good weight to them. And it's also interesting to see how many different kind of styles of illustration you have, but they all still feel cohesive because of the color choices and just kind of how you have them laid out and moving one to the other.
I agree. Really, really nice job here. Definitely could, you could see like lots of corporations wanting to use these and hiring him to create their slide decks and pitch decks. Really good.
It's really interesting to kind of hear where some of this stuff comes from and where the inspiration is. That might be something you might want to add to some of your projects, is just talking through it. I'm also a fan of just show, don't tell. So I think there's something to be said for both of them. But if you wanted to add something more, it could be interesting to kind of hear where some of these products came from and what inspired them. Love that you have your contact information and that you're available for freelance on your page, and then also plenty of spaces to find you elsewhere on the web. Really great profile.
Yeah,
it's really cool to check out the work.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mathew. Very beautiful work. And don't forget, if you want to submit yourself or a friend for the Artist Spotlight, be sure to click that tab next to the chat and fill out the form, and you might be able to see your work here featured on Adobe Live.
Which is always available on the replay too, so you can show your mom.
Yes, don't forget about that. These are all available for replay at any time on Behance and YouTube. This one and all of the other ones for the history of Adobe Live. And yes, don't forget to show your mom or your dad.
Always show your mom or your dad. Grandma. Yeah, gotta have all the support. It's Mother's Day soon, but don't forget Dad.
Yes.
So I hopped back into After Effects. Like I said, we do need to wrap things up pretty soon. So we are just going to real quickly do a follow me elsewhere. But this will all be available online as well for you guys. I do not like that. So let's save it. Do something like this. Opens. And I can even extend this a little bit more just so that it has another second to breathe before it opens. And I never did find that Princess Diana reference that I wanted for the curtains. But you know what? It's fine. Aaron loves Princess Diana. He has like a few of her sweaters and stuff. So I know way more about her than I ever did before I started dating him.
I used to be really, really into her. I mean, I still love her, but I was very into her as a child. I have no idea why. Yeah.
It's iconic though. She just had glamour and grace, you know, and also still stood up for herself, which was really nice to see.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I must have like subconsciously realized that through, I don't know, my parents like watching the news and stuff. And like, I remember when she died and being so upset but not understanding. I was super young and also not knowing why I liked her. I just knew like, I really, really like her.
Right.
So I don't know, like 3 years old or something. Yeah.
She really had a resurgence like within the last like year or so. There's like Spencer that came out. There's a bunch of other stuff that came out, and it was really cool to see all the different artistic interpretations of you know, a real figure, but also kind of also exploring historical fiction, but also real fiction. I mean, a real history. It's strange, but it's always kind of cool how certain personalities captivate. I don't know what I messed up. I messed something up. Don't panic.
Panicking.
Act like you've been here before.
What happened?
I'm gonna go ahead and just copy something else and we'll bring it on over as a solution. Oh, it might be because it has my simple text on here, maybe. No, that's not it. That's okay. We'll pivot. Like I said, with a cat, I've been doing this a lot where I'm messing things up and then I'm like, I don't know. We'll just start over because I don't know what you did. You walked across the keyboard.
Oh, that's the worst. Or like your whole setup changes.
Yep.
And then you're like, okay, well, reset the workspace. Nope, doesn't fix it.
Doesn't fix it. You did something that apparently is permanent. Didn't know that was permanent.
Come back, cat. Undo it. Fix it. Tell me what
fix
keys
what you
made. On.
If I'm saying everywhere else, everywhere is one word, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like everyone versus everyone. Always trips me up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Wow, Jane said that she met Princess Diana twice.
Oh, that's because Jane's secretly royalty. She's part of the royal family.
Really? Really?
And she's watching Adobe Live.
Ooh, hook us up, Jane.
That's crazy. That's really cool. Awesome. I've never been to England before.
Me either.
I'd like to go though. Yesterday we spoke about libraries, how awesome libraries are. You guys should check libraries out. But we are going to use my handy dandy quick tool, especially since we have like 5 minutes left, to just quickly use the social icons that I have, because then I don't have to download them and go from there. Yes. So I'll go ahead and I'll click it. And then I'm in the library section. And then what I'm actually going to do is I just use Overlord from there, and I can place it over into After Effects, and it's just a shape layer, which is really cool. And so I'll go in here and I'll probably just change this to blue, and we'll change it to have a little white circle. I was trying to eyedrop the background. This is the background is transparent. It won't pop up with anything. So I want to go ahead and just grab the hexadecimal value and place it in. This necessarily does not reflect Twitter's brand guidelines, but do not report me. It's on your own risk. I've seen some pretty atrocious use case of like Instagram and Twitter logos where I'm like, that they wouldn't be happy with that, but they're not sending out cease and desist because at the end of the day, you're shepherding people to their platform. So
yep, exactly.
It's a matter of making them look good to you.
Bruce asked how you got those icons. I guess he's referring to.
Yeah, probably referring to the social icons.
Yeah.
So what I did is I went ahead and I downloaded them, a lot of them from their actual sites. Like if you go to Twitter, like twitter.com/brand or something, they will have a EPS or an AI for them. And then so I open up the EPS or the AI, and then I go into a library, and just with it highlighted, you would go and you would go down to click here and you would say graphic, and then it'll add your graphic to your library. So I just have a library of social logos that I then can grab and move in and out. And it's super helpful and I love it, and you should do it.
Yeah.
Can't recommend it enough.
Super helpful.
And so I'm going to add Behance, Twitter, and Instagram to this. But we can, oops. All right. So you'll see that when I imported that, I have this selected, which splits shapes to layers, but I don't want that. So I'm going to unselect that. And then we're going to click pool selection. And it'll pull it up and it'll make it all one layer. That way, we don't have to worry about dealing with separate layers for one thing. I'm going to label our layers because it's important. We're getting so close to time. It feels like I have an assignment due and it's due at midnight and it's 11:55 and Word won't open.
Oh, that's the worst feeling. You start to feel it in like your whole body.
Yeah. Do not miss those days. Would not go back to school. So many people are like, oh, I miss school so much. I miss the projects and the homework. I'm like, no, man. Yeah. I am perfectly fine with where I am now with work.
Yeah. I'm good.
I do not need that.
I agree. And like now doing freelance work or even having like working for a job at the time, the work that I was doing, I at least was getting paid for. I'm always like, why do we have to pay to go to school yet they give us projects to work on? Yep. You should pay us.
I also want someone to pay me to go to the gym. That would be great. You're making me work out and lift things up for you guys.
Yep.
Give me some money. No judgment.
I think there's an app for that. Isn't there? Like you can
sweat coin or something.
Yeah, it's like every time you go to the gym you get paid.
Oh,
like okay, well but if you don't go then you lose money. I would be super poor.
Yeah, right. Elizabeth says, and here I am about to leave the life of school and very rushed deadlines. Yeah, no, Elizabeth, congratulations on graduation week. And I'm really excited for you. I think you're going to love the workforce. You know, everything has its pros and cons. There are certain things that I definitely miss about school, but I think by and large, getting out there and being able to work what you're really passionate about on and work with real clients, there's nothing that compares to that. I think you're really going to like it. So I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, congratulations, Elizabeth. That's
yeah,
cool.
She posted in my Discord, I know, but she recently had her like senior showcase and she did some animations and they look really great. I would pull them up if I was not on a time crunch, but make sure you guys click on her profile. And she's got some really great stuff that she's working on. She's got illustration and motion, which, you know, I'm a big fan of. So change these colors real quick. All right, we got a few minutes left. Do you have anything else that you want to get off your chest?
Oh yeah, let's extend it for a couple hours.
Yeah. Well, you said your next project is about like you and your history and the ability of your evolution as an artist. So I think we'll see that in due time.
Yes, you will see all about it coming soon too.
Terrifying and exciting and admirable.
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited for it.
I never know what to do with Behance as far as linking, because you can do b.net/, but you don't really use @ I mean, you use @ when you're watching live streams, but like it's not the same as Twitter or Instagram where there's such a reference or such a like reliance and understanding of @ for being a username.
I feel like that's probably fine.
right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Good luck.
Yeah. While Ryan is finishing that up here, I just want to remind everyone to stay tuned for the Premiere Creative Challenge with Fabiola Lara right after this stream. And don't forget, Adobe Live will be back tomorrow with our evangelists for a full day of masterclasses, followed by a new episode of Office Hours with Nick Longo and Andrew Huckrattle. So definitely be sure to check that out. They should be pretty fun. And
pretty fun. They're going to be really fun.
They're going to be super fun.
They're going to be the best part of your weekend, even before the weekend starts.
Yeah. Tomorrow's Friday for those of you that are in this area of the world. Tomorrow's Friday, or tomorrow might be Saturday for you, wherever you're calling in from. But
that's true.
yes. So, and don't forget you can watch this replay on Behance or YouTube. And Ryan, where can we get these downloads?
I'm going to work with Paco to see if we can get it into the description for the replays. So hopefully by the time you're watching this, if you're watching a replay, we'll be able to get the link there for you so that you can get it. Otherwise, I will just have it on my profile for you guys.
Perfect. Awesome. Any closing remarks that you would like to share?
Thank you so much. I had such a great time. I hope to be back on at some point. I love Adobe Live, and I'm going to try to sign up for that gym app, so next time I'm on, I'm going to be super swole. It's going to be great.
Yes, that sounds great. I will definitely do the same. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, and thank you, Ryan. This was super informative and very fun to be here with you. I really appreciate it, as do all of us at Adobe Live. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.